This past March, I got to go to the Crucible Project for Men, Crucible Project weekend. And it's the hardest thing I've ever done, and yes, it's the best thing I've ever done. I really can't say a lot about the details of what we did there. They ask you not to do that, and I'm glad I didn't know going in because it makes the experience really effective. But I will tell you this. I drew a line in the sand leaving there, and I said, I've lived out of this old space in my life. I'm not going to live out of that space anymore. I'm moving forward. I'm living out here, and I think I've done a pretty good job of doing that. One of the things they ask you to do when you're heading into this Crucible Project weekend, there's so much unknown, is they ask you to get with a few friends in your life, 3 specific friends in your life who you're close to, and they ask you to ask them this question. I want you to tell me 3 things about me that you like and 3 things about me that you would love to change. So I rounded up 3 guys locally here who I do life closely with, and I asked them to do that for me. They said, sure. When they came back with their answers, they said, don't ever ask me to do that again. Because it's hard. I've done it for a few guys. I know how hard it is. You want to know what's even harder? Reading it. Yeah, here's what I learned about myself. I wrote this down because I won't screw it up. I learned I live way too much under the thumb of other people's expectations and opinions. I learned that I'm often insecure in myself as a leader, and I push my daughter Spencer way too hard. I learned I take myself too seriously. I can't relax and laugh enough. I live too much in the past, and I'm too focused on results and take it personally when the results are not what I want them to be. I also learned I get hurt. I tend to get hurt, defensive, and dismissive with people around me that I'm close to that I love when they disagree with me. Can I tell you something about that stuff? I don't want to read that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want anything to do with that. Why? Because that's not the guy that I want to be. But the only way that I'm going to change that is if I hear that. And I believe I have heard it, and I've begun to change that. Can I tell you something? I need this. I need this raw community in my life. And whether you believe it or not, I'm telling you, you really do too. Here's what I've learned. If you're not close enough to hurt me, you're really not close enough to help me either. If I refuse to allow you to get close enough to hurt me, I'm really refusing you the opportunity to get close enough to help me. Our friends accept us for who we are. Our real friends help us become who we want to be and who we were created to be. Closing the gap between you and me. I don't know who that is for you, but between you and me helps me close the gap that exists between who I am and who I want to be. Now, don't you want that in your life? Of course you do. 2 questions as you leave here today. The first one is, what's your next step? Make it personal. What is my next step? The second question is this: am I willing to walk toward and into a few intentional relationships in my life, not for the sake of the relationship, but for the sake of the change that will occur in my life as a result of that relationship? It is a big deal. If we want to find the life that all of us came in here looking for today, we got to put the big rocks in first. This raw community thing is one of the big rocks that must go in first. We got to hold on to what we've got. We've got each other, and that's a lot. Do you have that in your life?